Hey guys, tonight we venture deep into the bizarre, ambitious, and sometimes eyebrow-free world of medieval beauty standards. The tale will whisk you away to a time of courtly love, chivalrous knights, and peculiar social norms that could make even the boldest fashionistas blink twice. Imagine a world where pale skin was more than just admirable, it was paramount to your social success, where beauty was both a philosophical pursuit and a dangerous feat, much like medieval jousting. You probably won't survive this beauty regime, but lucky for you, we're only visiting it through the safe lens of history. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Don't forget to share your location and time. It's always fun to see where and when we're connecting with fellow night owls around the world. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your feet touch the cobblestones of a bustling medieval village where the air is tinged with the earthy scent of market stalls. As you wander through the narrow streets, you notice the vibrant tapestry of life around you. Women with elaborate headdresses glide past cobblers hawking their wares, and craftsmen sell delicate filigree jewelry status symbols sparkling in the sunlight. The medieval period was a time when beauty held power and meaning beyond mere aesthetics. You spot a young woman painstakingly applying a concoction to her skin, striving for that famously coveted alabaster complexion. During this era, pale skin was associated not just with beauty, but also with nobility, marking one as free from toil under the sun. A simple matter of leisure that might seem laughable now, but back in medieval times, it was worth its weight in gold. As you continue strolling, you hear whispers of an even stranger practice, removing eyebrows to achieve a more intelligent look. Yes, it's true. Medieval beauty standards often dictated the removal of eyebrows to create an expansive, thoughtful forehead considered the pinnacle of wisdom and grace. Strange but true. A smooth, unfurrowed brow was equated with the serenity of a cultured soul. Historical texts often describe these beauty rituals in glowing terms, though historians still debate whether these ideals were universally embraced or more restricted to the wealthier echelons of society. What was always clear, however, was that beauty standards served as both a reflection of societal values and a means of social mobility. Amidst the hum of marketplace chatter, your attention is drawn to the center of a lively square. Here a scribe reads earlier manuscripts dedicated to documenting beauty secrets of medieval queens and courtesans. More amusing than enlightening, these scrolls describe outlandish practices like bathing in donkey's milk and secret recipes like crushed beetle carapaces mixed with vinegar for a ruddy complexion. You can't help but chuckle at the thought, much like when someone likens modern spa treatments to spells from a wizard's tome. Your journey meanders past an apothecary filled with shelves of curious ointments and mysterious bottles. Inside, the craftsman explains how various botanical ingredients were used to create perfumes or dyes, some effective, yet others largely whims, born of trial and error. The alchemy behind these cosmetics blurred the line between hocus pocus and genuine discovery, one of many instances where beauty and science intertwined. We pause here at this intersection of history's enduring obsession with appearances. The story gently unfolds into a tapestry of discovery, revealing our shared human curiosity for beauty and the lengths to which people have gone to achieve it. As moonlight softly drapes over the ancient stones of the village, your heart beats in rhythm with a world gone by, a world that chased its own unearthly ideals with both reverence and whimsy. Imagine yourself wandering through the cobbled streets of a medieval town, where the past whispers through every weathered stone and wooden cart. Your footsteps echo softly as you move past market stalls, each bursting with the colorful chaos of daily life. As you walk, you notice the townsfolk busy with their morning errands, each face telling a story of its own. But what's truly striking is how some faces stand out, those adorned with an almost otherworldly paleness. You're now in the heart of an era where the color of one's skin is more than just a part of who they are. It's a canvas painted with societal values and ambitions. In these medieval times, pale skin wasn't just a fashion, it was an emblem of status, a badge of beauty, and a testament to one's position in the complex tapestry of social hierarchy. The tale of pale skin begins with a deeply rooted perception. If you had naturally pale skin, it meant you were likely someone of wealth or noble birth, someone who spent their days indoors, shielded from labor and the harshness of the sun. To have sun-kissed skin, necessitated by working outdoors, marked you as common or lower class, a farmer or a laborer whose toil under the open sky was reflected in darker, weathered skin. But achieving that ethereal pallor was no easy feat. There were many who wished to emulate this appearance of nobility and went to surprising, even dangerous lengths to do so. One of the most popular methods involved the use of white lead powder. Without modern science to warn them of the risks, people dabbed it onto their skin to achieve that ghostly glow, a testament to beauty standards taken to hazardous extremes. Isn't it fascinating and a touch ironic how much danger we've historically embraced for fashion? There were less risky, but perhaps no less strange methods too. Picture this: a cloth soaked in vinegar and worn on the skin, the acid believed to etch a lighter complexion over time. Perhaps the tingle of the solution on one's cheek was a physical reminder of one's perseverance for beauty. Even historians scratch their heads at some ancient beauty practices, debating whether these methods were widespread or limited to only the most fashion-savvy individuals. And then there were recipes of luxury involving mixtures like pearl powder and egg whites, items that only those with the means could afford to spare from the dinner table or the jeweler's workbench. Imagine cracking an egg, not for a hearty meal, but to catch its clear yolk in your palms, hoping that it might somehow envelop your skin in a creamy heavenly sheen. Reflecting on these practices, you might chuckle softly at how trends come and go, each era with its own unique measures of beauty. Today's sunscreen and bronzers, yesteryear's lead powders and vinegar cloths, every age sees its own peculiar beauty quests. Still, what remains unchanged is the human desire to belong to symbolize where one stands or aspires to stand. You marvel at how history repeats, reimagining itself with each generation while carrying traces of its past. Strolling further, you find yourself by a small apothecary, its shelves cluttered with quaint little bottles, and clay containers echoing with tales of beauty, concoctions, each one a little lesson, wrapped in mystery. A delicate fragrance fills the air, something floral and earthy drawing you into its soothing embrace. Somewhere, a footnote reminds you that while some potions pander to vanity, others soothe ailments, be it of the skin or spirit. Pausing beneath the soft glow of the afternoon light, you breathe in deeply, absorbing the quiet wisdom of bygone eras. It's a reminder of the endless narratives woven through history, each thread contributing to the rich tapestry we call humanity. Each method, each anecdote about pale skin invites you to wonder at what we remember and what we choose to leave behind. And so with every step you take, let this gentle medieval charm wind its way through your thoughts like the soft lingering notes of a lullaby that speaks of a world both familiar and enchantingly distant. As you drift through the pages of history, you're comfortably ensconced in a time where the ideal complexion was pale and luminous, almost like porcelain. You imagine yourself in an era where mirrors were rare treasures, but vanity, oh, vanity was abundant. You see a delicate young lady, or perhaps a handsome young gentleman from the past, their faces powdered to perfection. But wait, what is this mysterious powder they use? It's a concoction involving white lead, a substance they believed brought beauty, but truly brought mischief. Across time, white lead powder finds its place on many dressing tables. These powders reflect not just light, but the pursuit of a societal ideal. You wonder what it felt like to gently swirl that soft dust across your face with a luxurious brush, knowing its smoothness masked a treacherous truth. The white lead brought fatigue so deep it seemed like it belonged to the soul. Yet it was revered just as sugar for its sweetness, though its shadow was deathly bitter. It's evening now, the glow of candlelight softening sharper edges. Imagine the serenity of it all, feathers brushing, soft cheeks whispers of silk. But historians still puzzle over how its users noticed ulcers appearing, yet found it difficult to trace their origins. Was it worth it? The pursuit of deathly beauty. The shelves also held mercury and chalk dust, each with promises of grandeur, each sporting its own treachery. In those days, mercury came slithering into the world of cosmetics under the guise of a miracle worker. It was thought to purge impurities, a concoction akin to potions promising eternal youth. Yet its cost was counted in moments lost. It ticked silently in poisoned hearts. An unusual twist indeed, vanity, as a lethal storyteller, whispering promises, sweeter than honey, until it too was engulfed by the leaden shadows of truth. You might imagine a well-to-do woman, skin like alabaster, cheeks painted with dreams that masked nightmares. She embodies the tragic romance of eras long gone, an epitome of grace, underneath which lurked a danger unspoken, yet undeniable. Remember that mercury so lauded, It lent not just a glow, but rather insidiously lent itself to trembling hands and clouded minds. But the ingenuity of beauty makers knew little bounds. The realms of fashion yet beckoned to those who dared. Society's elite strode forth, colored by ambition and powder alike. The false colors only temporarily stole reality. Beneath remained each maker's looming shadow, a reminder perhaps of the folly hidden within glamour's grasp. You're drawn into this dance of danger, a ballet, where each pirouette inches closer to melancholy. Even as the reflected light fades, curious hold of appearance remains as strong as any thread spun by moonlight. Through it all, though, isn't it remarkable the lengths to which one might go, just to captivate a glance, to hold admiration's fleeting gaze? You're likely to chuckle, a wry smile dancing across your lips. This tangled scenario amusing in the safety of your own era, where knowledge and technology shield you from the specters of the past. And you're ever thoughtful of how such ancient dangers are etched into the foundations of beauty, tales sometimes murmured in historical corridors. As the night deepens around you, this journey through time drapes a calming shadow over your senses, speaking softly the truths of an age defined by its quest for beauty, however perilous. The contrasts settle like echoes of old masquerades, now danced only in memory. With this sideways smile towards history, you find tranquility in understanding those bygone mistakes. Forged under the allure of seduction's gentle brush, the painted bones of vain endeavors may now rest dormant under moonlit skies, wondering why beauty was once chased with fervent disregard for the cost it brought upon its seekers. And then, just as subtly, reality slips away, leaving you to ponder a time when glamour masked danger night, concreting what memory tentatively holds, shadows of smiles now nestled in dreams. Picture this, as you find yourself in a grand hall centuries old, the soft glow of candlelight flickers on ancient stone walls around you. Your footsteps echo quietly on the cool marble floor as you glide deeper into this world of elegance and timeless beauty. Here the whispers of the past are as alive as the paintings that line the corridor, each telling tales of eras gone by. Within this tapestry of history, you come across an intriguing sight, a portrait of a figure with a strikingly high forehead. This was no accident of genetics, but a carefully curated look sought after for its association with grace and divine favor. Yes, it was once believed that a high forehead was the mark of intelligence and sophistication, a forehead that could almost touch the heavens in its prominence. Now imagine this. You're being guided through the meticulous ritual of turning art into reality. You, eager to adopt this standard of elegance, might start with the delicate art of eyebrow plucking. The careful removal of hair, one by one, to shape the perfect gentle arc, a frame to complement that forehead of divine proportion. Of course, this artful practice was more than about beauty. It was about setting oneself apart, just like the nobility who grace the halls with their ethereal presence. Historians still debate whether this trend originated as an act of vanity or a deeply rooted spiritual or cultural expression. Yet one surprising detail emerges: the lengths individuals would go to in pursuit of this ideal. You might have had your hairline shaved back, an act of great commitment to amplify the forehead's height and clear canvas. And on some occasions, they called in nature's own beauty, assistance leches, which were used for hair removal as well, an unusual, albeit effective treatment in a time before modern conveniences. As you explore the dimly lit hall, the voices from portraits whisper stories of how these practices were not limited to the fashion-driven, but represented social status, even declaring one's closeness with the divine. It was a world where every personal choice echoed the collective values and sensibilities of a distant era. Continuing your journey through this serene museum of the past, you're encouraged to engage all your senses, to appreciate the silent dedication it took to maintain such an appearance. Each glance in the mirror promising a reflection worthy of the icons of those ancient times, an homage to both beauty and belief. By now, you're so mesmerized by these tales from the past, the calming yet slightly bemusing practices that feel so distant yet somehow enchanting. A time where every beauty routine was a ritual, whether you embraced it through the gentle application of a depilatory or the delicate brush of powders and oils, a testament to the timeless devotion to art and life's exquisite aesthetics. So you glide softly past other admirers of this quiet gallery, each in their own world, wondering what stories those high foreheads truly witnessed and represented. And you'll remember this calming muse of elegance as you wonder dreamily how these choices might still echo into our contemporary views on beauty. In this peaceful contemplation, any whisper of the past becomes a singing lullaby that softly tugs at the edges of your imagination, pulling you gently between dreams and the simple calm of historical charms. You find yourself enveloped in the soft glow of early morning light, like the gentle touch of a painter's brush. Birds quietly serenade the dawn, crafting a melody only nature could compose. You saunter leisurely, each footstep a soft whisper on the trail of time, until you're drawn back to the wisdom and oddities of a world where beauty and fashion continue to surprise. In this moment, a past unfolds, where eyebrows are a mere memory, sometimes whispered about as if they were myths. They're likened to weeds on the pristine landscape of the face, an art form crafted by nature, but subject to the creative whimsy of human reinvention. It's a curious notion, isn't it? How something so small can command so much attention, or in this case be completely dismissed. This unusual aesthetic choice leads you to Elizabethan England, a time when highly arched foreheads were the epitome of sophistication. Can you picture it? A noblewoman seated before a polished mirror of silver, with servants carefully applying an array of concoctions to erase her brows. A mixture of walnut oil and vinegar, known for its slow dissolution of hair, was popular. The preference for a high, bare brow might be disputed now, but back then it spoke of intelligence and nobility. You can almost smell the pungent tang of the vinegar as it sits patient in its transformation. Yet historians still debate whether this trend arose purely from aesthetic desire, or if it was a reflection of deeper societal values, a move to highlight the forehead viewed as the window to the mind. The face, after all, is a canvas that history loves to repaint. Different lands, different approaches. You imagine traveling far to the east to twinkling nights under a Persian moon. There, the method of choice was perhaps a bit more daring, involving the use of alkaline substances derived from plants to achieve that coveted smooth look. One accidental drop in the wrong place could sting a reminder that beauty's pursuit is not always gentle, an intriguing echo of the commitment to an ideal where fashion meets fortitude and even risk. Back across the world, you might wander into ancient China, where eyebrow art took a different path. Rather than remove the focus, was on reshaping with powders and darkenings. But even then, the drawn line depended on one's social standing, influenced by dynastic change, and the stories each drawing told. Here's a surprising twist. Not all attempts were successful or stylish. At certain points, painted lines ascended into odd exaggerated arcs that looked less like eyebrows and more like comedic illustrations. It seems humans consistently know how to flirt with the ridiculous in their chase for beauty. The setting shifts as your mind settles on Renaissance Italy, where beauty meant symmetry and balance, eyebrows included. Masters like Botticelli and Michelangelo captured what they observed: high foreheads, unmarred by hair, giving way to eyes that spoke softly yet fiercely. Into this cultural tapestry comes a slight breeze of academic curiosity. Could the removal of eyebrows signify more than just cosmetic preference? Some argue these choices reflected a rebellion against the norm, while others view it as a mere form of personal expression, a nod to inner identity. Amidst the weave of customs across time, you linger on these ideas, drifting through stories that aren't just about the face, but also touch on conflicts of identity and the ever-fluid concept of beauty. You can almost hear the echoes of bygone ballrooms, feel the swish of silk across marbled floors, and sense the intimate secrets shared behind closed doors. Secrets of subtle eruptions in fashion, each browless face telling a tale of its own. The calm of the world around you slowly envelops the scene, fading the whispers of historical quirk into a gentle hum that lulls you to rest. You float on a serene tide of understanding and wonder, fins sifting through the sands of meaning, and slowly, effortlessly, let the stories of eyebrows and foreheads drift like wisps of dreams woven into the tapestry of night. You find yourself in an exquisite land where the subtle art of beauty has been practiced for centuries. The landscape here is rich and colorful, with soft hues reflecting the gentle beauty touches women have crafted over the generations. Tonight's journey takes you to a quaint village where the practice of using blush to signify youth and fertility has its roots. In this village, nestled between lush green hills and serene rivers, young women rise early to capture the morning sun's delicate warmth on their cheeks. It's said to bring out their natural beauty, a gentle flush that echoes vitality and vibrancy. But back then, the art of blush was more than just taking in the sun's glow. It involved a fascinating ritual of mixing ingredients, a dash of beetroot for that roseate hue, perhaps a touch of clay or crushed flowers, creating an artful blend that whispered of youthful vigor and nature's fertility. These women knew the power held in a simple blush, much like secrets passed from mothers to daughters for generations. However, they walked a fine line, navigating the precarious waters between displaying a healthy, demure countenance and the risks of appearing overly vain. Vanity, it seemed, was a trait that could tip the scales unjustly, inviting a shadow of criticism from those who watched over with a wary eye. The church, a stern observer of the village's day-to-day life, held strong views on the subject. Too much blush could suggest a flirtatious nature unbecoming of a modest woman. It was a daring dance indeed, to find the perfect balance between the two, to accentuate one's natural youth without tumbling into excess. In those days, you notice, simplicity was embraced, an elegance that spoke volumes without uttering a harsh word. And this restrained application of blush became a silent language, a soft conversation between eyes that understood the measured grace of this subtle art. But historians eternally curious still debate whether beetroot's overpowering shade ever found disapproval amongst the more austere villagers, or if it was merely a story woven into the fabric of the past. After all, tales of beauty have always walked alongside whispers of scandal and devotion. One thing, however, stands clear against the fog of uncertainty. These women, adept at this delicate art, found a way to showcase their inner vitality without succumbing to the more brazen declarations of vanity. It's here you find a comforting paradox, how something so small and nearly invisible could bear the weight of words, unspoken of intentions, unread, all while skirting the delicate line of societal norms. The villagers believed a gentle blush could charm not just the onlookers, but also nature itself, inviting love and growth into their lives. This practice was as much about harmonizing with the world round them as it was about personal adornment. Even the most mundane of tasks took on a resonant charm when paired with this unassuming ritual. As the village bustles with its daily clamor, children chase each other across cobblestone lanes, and the elderly smile knowingly at the cyclical dance of life. Onwards you venture through another path, where tales of romantic moonlit gatherings abound. It's said that beneath the starlit sky, the gentle blush helped these young women reflect an ethereal glow enhancing their allure. How miraculous it seemed, this union of earth and sky, where the stories of beauty and youth flourished under a canopy of stars. Yet amid the enchanting narrative, surprises lurk beneath the surface, for no tale of beauty is complete without a twist. Deeper in the village's history lies the secretive practice of dabbing bee pollen for added shimmer, a little known to us now, but a popular allure in bygone days. Imagine pollen collected meticulously, each golden fleck considered a tiny sacrifice of the bees, making the wearer almost conspiratorial with nature herself. As the tranquil night settles over the village, threading its way through the eaves of homes and lush groves that embrace your path, you rest easy, knowing how such tales continue to weave themselves into the tapestry of human history. The soft rustle of the river crickets serenading the moon, and the glow of a shy blush casting spells over youth and age alike, a circle unbroken by time's relentless pace. You find yourself in a world where strands of golden hair shimmer under the soft glow of dawn, each glinting like threads spun from sunlight itself. There's something pristine, almost heavenly, about blonde locks. It's enough to make anyone ponder how this hue came to be such a symbol of purity, an ideal beauty across many cultures. You walk through an idyllic garden where statuesque figures cloaked in age-old garments nod slightly their hair, forming halos in the gentle breeze. These ideals don't arise out of mere whimsy. Throughout history, blonde hair often was revered, closely linked to images of purity and divinity, echoing the serene portraits of the Virgin Mary that hung in the dimly lit cathedrals across medieval Europe. Are you surprised that these sacred icons, with their gentle expressions and golden tresses, influenced the very perception of beauty for generations? It's fascinating, really, how a simple attribute like hair color can carry such profound symbolism. Imagine yourself in a time that whispers of secrets and ancient beauty tricks. Back then, achieving this cherished hue wasn't left to mere genetics. People found creative and sometimes cringe-worthy ways to mimic nature. You smell the faint remnants of plant oils and vinegar mixed into concoctions to lighten and brighten one's hair. Sometimes they might even sit for hours with their hair spread out under the sun, hoping to catch those elusive rays that danced across fields and waters. All this for a golden crown that would perhaps whisper of holiness and grace. Yet there's a hint of mystery shrouding these practices. Historians still debate whether certain potions truly worked or were merely old wives' tales, spun from desire and imagination. Picture yourself donning a cap of mud and lemon juice, a fashion statement not quite up to modern standards. You might chuckle, but a testament to timeless beauty, pursuits driven by cultural yearnings. Veils, like the lightest whisper of a dove's wing, drift around you, capturing this narrative's symbolic threads. In many eras, these veils weren't just mere fabric, but social markers often used to signal virtue and modesty, cloaking women's golden locks. They served as both a frame for an ethereal face and a boundary between the earthly and the divine. You might ask, what's in a veil? Quite a bit, should you look closely. These were more than pragmatic shields against dust. They were statements. An elaborate arrangement of silk and lace could speak volumes, whisper stories of a woman's family status or her readiness for marriage. And yet, under these veils, the soft strands of blonde curls still managed to peek through symbols of luminescence amidst woven darkness. Weaving through this delicate dance of history, you wonder if the golden hair was destiny's design or society's desire. Were people born this way, or did they become so through ritual and reverence? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, in a place where dreams brush against the fabric of reality, and like the fine hairs captured by the breeze, slip into something ethereal and barely tangible. As the night folds around you, gentler shadows fall, softening the outlines of these ancient symbols. Picture how such seemingly trivial aspects of appearance could shape social orders, destinies, and even the stories we tell about ourselves and those who came before. It's as if each strand of blonde hair carries with it Not just light, but layers upon layers of voices and visions from ages past calling softly to us across the expanse of time. As you wander through the cobblestone streets of medieval Europe, the night air is filled with gentle whispers about the bustling life of high-status ladies and their whims. You find yourself in a time where, much like a grand tapestry, life is woven with layers of tradition, politics, and inexplicably fashion statements so bold they're practically legendary. The Hennin, a conical hat that dances towards the heavens, is your guide through this tale tonight. Watching a procession pass by, you notice these towering hats upon the heads of noblewomen, their silken veils fluttering like pennants in the gentle breeze. Such extravagance speaks to an unspoken promise of wealth and prestige, setting their wearers apart from the common folk in an era where social standing could be as precarious as the Hennin itself. But be cautious, these hats aren't just ostentatious displays. They are carefully curated symbols of influence, fashioned in grand towers of fabric and tulle. These architectural marvels add a good foot or two to one's height, making it quite the challenge to squeeze through narrow doorways. One might think you'd need your wits more than ever to survive the clash between fashion and function. As you walk, a curious fact strikes you. The rise of the Hennin coincides oddly with a period of societal change. Historically, its origin is debated as historians pore over manuscripts and artworks to puzzle together how these hats became a staple. However, it's widely believed they flourished in the courts of Burgundy and France, perhaps beginning in the mid-15th century. They were as much about capturing courtly gazes as they were about asserting dominance over social hierarchies. Yet, like all things that soar too high, the Hennin had its wings clipped by controversy. Your journey leads you past a small chapel, its silent walls whispering tales of rebuke and discord. The church, ever looming in its moral authority, viewed these ostentatious hats as symbols of vanity and excess. An affront to humility, some decried a distraction from the path of spiritual piety. There is an irony in the church's opposition. One of the very reasons the Hennin was so popular came from its ability to display wealth through flamboyance, just the quality the church often decried. As you stand there imagining the sermons preached against such extravagances, it's almost amusing how these hats could stir such passionate responses. One could argue they were the original uniforms of rebellion, albeit wrapped in velvet and silk. You stroll past a bustling marketplace, where whispered exchanges and side glances hint at a world almost untouched by such noble fashions. Yet even here, you sense the echo of this high court trend. Young seamstresses experiment with fascinators and bold designs, each reimagining the Hennin in her own provincial style, a testament to the reach and resilience of this curious piece. Peering through the shop window, your eye catches a delicate figurine, a small sculpture adorned with a minuscule Hennin. Strange, isn't it? How an object of such excess could inspire beauty on such a modest scale. Historians still debate whether these artistic renditions were endorsements of the style or simple satire playfully poking at the hubris of the highborn. As the inklings of imagination pull you through this landscape, the Hennin stories are woven ever deeper into the fabric of medieval life. So much more than just hats. They were symbols, statements, and sometimes silent stories, crafted in gentle whispers or loud defiance. Feel the air cool as night draws near, beckoning you into the enveloping calm of a world slowly settling to rest. Your steps echo quietly, each one, a testament to the tales spun from fabric and flourish. Tonight, let these visions glide quietly into the tapestry of your dreams, carrying you gently into the world of slumber. The medieval sun peeks over the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the rolling hills. Its rays slip through the cracks of your modest wooden shutter, pulling you slowly from the depths of slumber. As you rub the sleep from your eyes, you find yourself in a time where knights roam and castles stand tall against the sky. This day, like many before, it holds a world of historical intrigue and woven tales waiting to unfold. Trapped within the stone walls of a bustling medieval town, you can almost feel the heartbeat of the era pulsing beneath the cobblestones. Life here is vibrant, yet challenging, the air filled with tantalizing aromas from nearby kitchens, and the distant sound of horses clomping along the street. Yet amidst this tapestry of medieval life, there lingers the image of an ideal, the epitome of beauty, that many strive to emulate. In medieval times, beauty was often equated with the ethereal. Slender frames and delicate, almost fragile appearances were greatly admired. You may find this a peculiar notion, considering the era's reputation for hardy lives and robust labor. Despite the physically demanding daily routines, it was the willowy figure, pale as moonlight, soft yet poignant, that turned heads and whispered promises of higher status. You've probably made it this far in the story without slipping through the medieval ether, which is quite the feat. Given you probably won't survive this medieval beauty battle. Nevertheless, as you adjust to your surroundings and the quaint charm they exude, you begin to understand that achieving this ideal was as much an art of illusion as anything else. Before you get too cozy with this medieval musing, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And for those medieval lovers out there, drop your location and local time in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you wander further into the story, you find yourself mingling with the seamstresses and apprentices of grand manners. Here it's said, dressed in such a manner that the fabric seemed to dance with the air itself. Through sheer ingenuity and not a little daily discomfort, these garments were tailored to accentuate slimness, an art that itself tells a story without uttering syllables. Corsets or stays, as they were often called, serve as one of your first discoveries in this exploration of medieval fashion stratagems. Crafted of whalebone, which, for the curious, is actually a keratin-like material from the mouths of whales, not their skeletal bones. The stays mold bodies into long, rigid shapes. As you lace yourself into one, a friend in the form of a patient maid's assistant at your side, you glimpse the wonder many ladies must have felt upon seeing their altered silhouettes look back at them from mirrors. Despite this painstaking endeavor, historians still debate whether these drastic methods were born of genuine admiration for frailness or an unyielding aristocratic standard of luxury. Either way, the manipulation of cloth and body combined to produce elegance, albeit from suffering. In your meanderings, you encounter another surprising detail: the use of voluminous billowing sleeves and skirts to create contrast, rendering waistlines thinner in comparison. This visual trickery draws giggles from those around you, young scullery girls whispering their fashion secrets, coy smiles lighting their faces. Blackwork embroidery, intricate and laboriously stitched lines. These garments further drawing the eye along the body's intended curves. As evening descends, the town crier's voice carries through the streets, announcing the close of commerce for the day. Lamps flicker to life, casting a warm glow like a loving embrace. And you walk arms, brushing the stone walls of quaint cottages deep in contemplation about the lengths to which people have always gone to reshape themselves in pursuit of the ideals society holds. Yet it is among smaller gatherings, friends sharing a laugh beneath a starlit sky, that the truth seems to surface. Despite the structured clothing and delicate appearances, none here are immune to the inevitable forces of life: calloused hands, weary feet, or laughter spilling freely into the night. Such is the dance between aspiration and reality, woven into every generation's attempt to define beauty. These medieval moments, while rich in tradition, whisper of a timeless quest, an ever-evolving mirage, drawing us deeper into the current of history. So as your journey in this era unfurls, take with you the knowledge that sometimes, in seeking to understand, you simply find more questions to ponder in the quiet moments before sleep. And as your mind begins to drift, you are wrapped in a gentle assurance that in the play of history's shadows, you too are part of the eternal weave, ever exploring, ever dreaming. You wander into the grand hall of history's portraits, where the walls themselves seem to breathe with the quiet mysteries of the past. Soft echoes of ancient whispers float around you, as if inviting you to come closer, to delve just a little deeper. You notice that among all the portraits, eyes dominate large and aglow, clear and magnetic, each pair telling stories of their own. These are the windows to souls long past, and you feel an urge to connect with the gaze of one particular figure, her eyes drawn in deep charcoal, an enigmatic blend of melancholy and grace. These eyes, you learn, were a standard of beauty during the Renaissance, capturing a depth and clarity that artists sought to immortalize. You smile slightly, wondering if they realized you probably wouldn't survive the scrutiny of such piercing looks. Many artists, it turns out, believed that the kind of charcoal they used could capture more than just an image. It captured a mood, an essence. Historians still debate whether this was mere superstition, or if there truly was a kind of artistic alchemy at work. As you gaze upon the portraits, you notice a fascinating detail. unlike the vibrant colors used today, the absence of color in these eyes seemed to make them all the more alive and soul-stirring. The artists you sense were almost obsessed with a melancholic, soulful gaze, the mark of introspection and profound thoughts. Perhaps these centuries-old figures seemingly peering back at you were poets, in disguise, expressing through silence what words could never fully convey. In one corner of the hall, there's a portrait of an unnamed woman who captivates you, her large, soulful eyes captured with such delicate precision. There's an air of mystery about her. Historians have spent years piecing together her story, but it's still enveloped in shadows. Some say she was a muse. Others suggest a prolific artist lost to history's pages. The debate echoes through the annals of art history, much like the soft hum of a distant stream you once heard in a gallery, intent on calming the soul. Her expression, you notice, is slightly wistful, evoking a sense of longing for something just out of reach, perhaps a love, a place, or even a moment in time. You can almost imagine her standing there posing for the artist's thoughts, wandering to untold dreams. Charcoal was often used by artists of the time, partly because it allowed them to revisit their work, to change a line here, darken a shadow there, echoing how history itself is rewritten. Just like them, you begin to understand history as a canvas of revision, each layer more complex than the last. A surprising element catches your attention, a minor detail expertly captured. A subtle hint of moisture glistens unconventionally just at the corner of her eye, adding an unexpected glimmer to the melancholy facade. You speculate the artist perhaps sneezed while dusting off stray charcoal fragments. Or maybe it was intentional. Nevertheless, it adds profound depth. The significance placed on eyes during the Renaissance wasn't just an artistic preference, it was a societal indicator of sorts. Large, clear eyes were thought to be indicative of purity, wisdom, and inner strength. You find it curious that such inner worlds could be so profoundly interpreted from the canvas-bound gazes that have watched over centuries of change. Curiosity piqued, you drift further into the echoes of history, imagining the murmur of artists discussing their latest works. Some documents suggest artists held secretive meetings, sharing glimpses of techniques they had mastered. It's said that a well-known artist may have exclaimed, "An eye has the darkest, truest reflection of one's immortal soul, stirring the desire to discover each sitter's hidden depths." As you delve deeper, consider for a moment the peculiar role of perception. What stories might these figures themselves have seen? And through whose eyes do we see them now? History remains tauntingly elusive, its narrative subject to whoever holds the charcoal. Each step takes you further back, not just into history, but into the very hearts of these individuals captured in time. You linger under the spell of that melancholic, soulful gaze, and imagine how, despite the years, a part of them lingers, waiting for someone like you to notice. Finally, as the whispered echoes begin to lull you into a soft, restful state, you find peace in the entrancing quality of the eyes that have long survived history's myriad turns. The room calms the portrait serene, and the soft hum of the imagined gallery twilight accompanies you. You can feel the air in the hall getting cooler, inviting you to close your eyes, not in parting, but in joining those who've been adoring and adored through ages past. The gentle murmur of history provides an ethereal lullaby as you surrender to the dreams beckoning from the deepest depths of your own mind. Eyes closed, you drift not into darkness, but into a soft, calming quiet. Now picture yourself in a time long ago, where crisp morning air, filled with mysterious scents, greets you. You are about to embark on a journey through history, wandering through fascinating attempts at keeping breath fresh long before the minty freshness of toothpaste and chewing gum. The dawn light cascades over bustling streets where lively merchants and eager townsfolk mingle. Among their clamor and exchanges, something unusual catches your attention. Amidst them, you notice individuals holding slender sticks to their mouths. These aren't just anyone. They are the esteemed members of society, rulers, traders, and scribes, whispering through fragrant woods. Indeed, you are witnessing a time when herbal solutions and chew sticks were not just common but revered. You explore further and come across an herb seller's stall, overflowing with raw, potent leaves and bundled twigs. Historians still debate whether many of these practices genuinely improved oral hygiene or were merely accepted rituals. Yet as you watch people select their preferred green remedies, it becomes clear that managing one's breath was an art form, a custom steeped in plant knowledge. A vibrant stall keeper motions you closer upon picking up a chew stick. She demonstrates its use by gently fraying one end to form bristles. This is a twig from the storied arak or neem tree, known today for their antibacterial properties. Such chew sticks were the forebears of modern toothbrushes, clever implements capable of cleaning and leaving behind a fresh scent. Placing the stick in your own hand, you carefully mimic her actions. As the stick taps into your taste buds with its earthy flavor, you recall how these simple tools mirrored societal standings. After all, certain woods and herbs were reserved for the elite, like a sign of status, discreetly polished beneath admired smiles. And while the fragrance hints at mint and citrus, you can't help but wonder how effective these methods were in truly combating the pervasive specter of decay. Perhaps that's why a societal tolerance towards less than perfect breath lingered in the air, not unlike a veil of smoke that enveloped daily life. Medieval manuscripts sporadically mention aromatic concoctions meant to mask more than they cleansed concoctions of barley mint. And even fennel were chewed or brewed into mouthwashes, promising a short-lived reprieve from oral offenses. It's striking how innovation and necessity dance together in this age, dressing the air with scents of lavender bouquets left simmering. You venture through time and uncover a picture not merely of habitual breathing, but of survival tactics within sensory realms. To your side, a debate stirs in a narrow-walled tavern where old tales are exchanged alongside tankards of ale. Aged wisdom meets youthful curiosity as elders speak of historical figures noted for their brilliant smiles. Were these stories of deliberate cultivation or just fortunate happenstance? You'll likely never know, for even learned historians sift through this era with uncertainty. Yet as you listen and watch, a remark surprises you. One of the elders declares, "Ah, yes, breathe deep, and if it smells sweet, then you should marry their sister." Beneath the laughter that follows, a striking realization dawns. These historical figures were not only learning from nature, but weaving it seamlessly into the social fabric. You may wonder, however, how commoners fared in a world where noble gums were pampered. Surprisingly, there is lenience in the air, a silent agreement to overlook minor imperfections. Perhaps it reflects an era's wisdom, nature's healing whisper shared widely across humble homes and opulent halls alike. And so, your adventure pulls you ever further into this fragrant tapestry of human experience, leaving you to ponder the ways in which a singular desire for fresh breath tangled with the cords of cultural identity, a tether binding the history of expression to the intimacy of a smile. As such stories unfold, you sense an approaching time shift, ready to whisk you into the next chapter of this peculiar odyssey. Imagine you're in the heart of 17th century Europe. Streets are bustling with the clang of horse hooves and street vendors calling out their wares. It's a time of powdered wigs and extravagant garments, yet behind that visage of sophistication lies a more delicate issue teeth. Smiles were often guarded not because of secrets withheld, but because of less than charming dental conditions. You find yourself smiling with lips tightly sealed, just like those around you, weary of revealing teeth that tell tales of a diet rich in sugar and lacking in proper dental hygiene. People back then had to get a bit creative. Enterprising individuals tried all sorts of strange concoctions in an attempt to clean and white their teeth. One such method involved a mixture of sage leaves and salt. When chewed, these ingredients would apparently work wonders for your teeth, or so they believed. Historians still debate whether this concoction actually produced the desired sparkle or was just a placebo effect, but people in those times certainly vouched for it. A well-crafted smile was not merely about appearance, it carried social implications too. The subtler smiles were considered refined, as a modest display of emotion was often more appreciated in the higher circles of society. Those lavish affairs, you imagine the balls and masquerades, those were places where a demure smile could speak volumes, a silent dialogue held with mere glances. Of course, not everyone could afford these elaborate dental rituals. The common folk relied on more rudimentary means, such as rubbing chalk or charcoal on their teeth, a far cry from the minty freshness of today's toothpaste. While these methods lacked the sweet flavors we associate with modern oral care, people back then believed in their efficacy, misled or not. Across the ocean in ancient civilizations like Egypt, personal appearance was often tied to one's status in society. They employed a paste made from ground pumice stone, mixed with wine vinegar, to scrub their teeth, a technique that seems nearly abrasive today. Curiously, this method hints at the broader inclinations of humankind's relentless pursuit for beauty and societal acceptance. Historians still debate whether Cleopatra herself used such methods, yet it stands as a testament to the universal desire for whiter teeth, no matter the era. There's something oddly comforting in knowing that from ancient times to now, people faced a similar struggle with finding the perfect smile, not from a place of vanity alone, but as a reflection of their position and personhood. As the centuries rolled on, dental care slowly started to change. This subtle evolution speaking to humanity's capacity for innovation. By the time of the Renaissance, more advanced treatments began emerging, with barbers doubling up as dental experts, an unsettling thought given the tools they used. It's fascinating and somewhat worrisome to think of barbers wielding scissors and pliers as their tools of choice, making us appreciate our modern dentists just a little bit more. These early dentists would also attempt teeth whitening, using rather abrasive powders or acids, often to the detriment of the enamel. The desire for that pristine pearly sheen was enough for many to take the risk, though the method seemed more effective at whitening the dentist's pockets than anything else. Subtle smiles had an appeal that transcended mere aesthetics. They spoke of a deeper understanding, an unspoken knowledge shared among those who truly understood the dance of societal norms. When a person offered you a gentle smile, it was a moment, a quiet connection amid the bustling noise, same as today, yet colored by the context of their unique troubles. Fast forward to the modern era, and you find yourself in a time where dental care has made leaps and bounds. With advancements in dental hygiene and cosmetic procedures, one might wonder how those subtle smiles of ages past compare to today's bright, Instagram-ready grins. Yet even with all the advancements, the allure of a genuine, understated smile remains bridging eons of human history in a single moment of shared humanity. So as you nestle into the comfort of your warm bed tonight, let the whispers of history lull you to sleep. The story of the smile spans across the centuries, a testament to the universal desire for connection and acceptance. While methods have varied, the essence remains unchanged, a secret shared through the ages, wrapped in the warmth of a genuine smile subtly revealed. Let the gentle hum of this tale guide you into dreams, where the past and present mingle in a world where every smile carries the capacity of 1,000 words, unspoken yet understood by all. You find yourself wandering through the bustling streets of a medieval town where lanterns flicker in the twilight, casting playful shadows along cobblestone paths. The air is fresh, yet carries the unmistakable hint of herbal infusions and the soft, fragrant echoes of blooming jasmine from gardens hidden beyond high stone walls. Tonight's journey is a look into the past, at the lives of those who strode these same paths, their ideals captured in patterns of fabric and gentle herbal fragrances. These medieval folk took their appearances seriously, and nowhere was this more evident than among the men deemed ideal by society's exacting standards. In this age of chivalry and craftsmanship, the quintessential man was expected to be a paragon of grace and elegance, much like a garden meticulously cultivated, yet with an effortless beauty. To achieve this aesthetic emphasis was firmly placed on a lean silhouette, clad in garments that accentuated his form. The ideal man avoided the cumbersome layers of yore. Instead, he favored clothing tailored with precision. The inspiration for such fashion innovation might surprise you. It seems that medieval tailors took cues from the sophistication of knight's armor, its form-fitting nature, a testament to the skill and artistry that made mere metal seem as if it were fabric gently contoured to each curve and line of the body. Although you probably won't survive this without a chuckle picture, someone hand-making complex armor in cloth both grandeur and snugness, crafted for daily wear. As you meander through this ancient landscape, the vibrant marketplaces come alive under a twilight sky. Here you would likely encounter stalls filled with an assortment of herbal remedies, varied in their potent promises of health and vitality. What might catch your eye particularly are the carefully arranged bins of herbs, lavender, chamomile, and rosemary, among others, each with its distinct scent wafting into the cool night air. What's intriguing about these herbs you'd find is their all-purpose nature. Today's multivitamins find their roots quite literally in these aromatic treasures of the past. Just as today, someone might sip green tea for its relaxing properties. Back then, a dip in a beloved herbal rinse was thought to rejuvenate both body and spirit. These herbal washes were not just for the ladies either. Gentlemen, ever conscious of their appearance, embraced the practice with enthusiasm. Fashioning these botanical baths was almost an art form, an intricate blend of fragrant flora steeped for the longest time to extract their essence. As you explore, imagine the resplendent baths. These herbs prepared a routine not so different from our modern-day spa experiences, with a touch more authenticity, perhaps. Historians still debate whether these herbal concoctions truly enhanced one's elegance or merely masked the dregs of daily toil. Yet regardless of purpose, the delightful aroma was undeniably irresistible. Your journey takes you further into the heart of remarkable design and culture, where the ideals of what it meant to be a man were being shaped not solely by garb or fragrance, but by a refined pursuit of grace itself. It's calming yet amusing to note that even in eras starkly different from our own priorities regarding self-presentation, had fully entrenched themselves in daily life. Here was a world where refinement was cherished as part of one's duty, an expectation but also a celebration of self-care long before it became a buzzword. As the narrative continues to unfold, like a scene in this living tapestry, it is clear that the essence of these historical influences lingers still. A simple step onto these cobblestones feels like stepping back into time, where every street corner shared whispered secrets of the past, waiting to be uncovered one story at a time. The cool evening breeze pulls you onward as lamps are lit, one by one casting a golden halo over the streets. Perhaps in those moments of tranquility beneath the starry sky, you might ponder the timeless quest for elegance, a pursuit both ancient and modern, interwoven through the lives of those who walked here long before us. The fragrance of herbs lingers in your memory, a gentle reminder of the nights when shadows danced upon the winds, and silhouettes caught in the lamp's glow embodied an era's most ideal figures. You find yourself drifting back through time, where the world's peculiar customs surrounding cleanliness and scent begin to unfold like a gentle breeze. It's a quaint world not too dissimilar from a dusty attic filled with forgotten treasures. You pause for a moment to take it all in as you're guided through the age of palmanders and the curious art of dry bathing. In this world of yore, the problem of body odor was as universal as it is timeless. Yet in this era, bathing in water was less common than you might think. Imagine folks using a pomander, a small perforated container filled with fragrant herbs and spices, as their answer to emanating unpleasant aromas. Picture yourself holding such a delicate object, its intricate metalwork cool against your hand, filled with the likes of lavender, cloves, and rosemary. You can almost smell it now, can't you? But the story isn't quite that simple. The process of dry bathing was another method employed by those grappling with the pungent reality of an active life confined to heavy layered clothing. You take a moment to examine this practice, a quick dusting or patting down with cloths soaked in herbal mixtures intended to refresh without the inconvenience of water. It's a curious practice almost akin to dusting off an ornate book cover rather than opening the pages to air. Historians still debate whether these methods were truly effective or merely a comforting routine for people unable to escape their own scent. Would you find comfort in this elaborate dance with fragrance, or would the underlying reality seep through? It's one of history's small mysteries that makes you wonder about the past and its quirks. Consider the clothing of the time-long sweeping garments of wool and linen, trapping odors much like a tightly sealed jar. You imagine yourself trying to keep fresh in such attire without running water. It's a challenge, isn't it? You marvel at their inventiveness, understanding that there's more than one way to face such an intimate problem. You ponder the constraints water wasn't always readily available, and regular bathing was an effort not to be taken lightly. This leads your thoughts to how societal norms could shape a person's habits. People simply accepted the limitations as part of life, much like they accepted the sun setting each day. The night unfolds around you as you reflect on these quaint customs, the world gently turning on its axis beneath the stars. Imagine the medieval streets filled with people, adorned with fragrant pomanders, each one a tiny scented universe clung to, dearly a beacon, against the tide of humanity's natural sense. As these thoughts gently wane, you allow yourself to sink more deeply into the present moment. The stories of yesteryear are like a soft quilt enveloping you in history's embrace, a calming reminder of human adaptability and the small comforts found in aromatic blends. Now, with the scene set and a richer understanding of our fragrant past swirling around you like a soft fragrance, you edge closer to the end of this tale, just one chapter in a history woven from many such fascinating scents and scene setters. The moon's soft glow peeks through your window. As you relax into its comforting light, you're breathing deep and even much like the tides of time washing over you. The story continues to hum softly as a lullaby easing you gently, tenderly toward rest. As you find yourself drifting deeper into our tale, The story begins to weave around you like the gentle embrace of a favorite blanket. You stand on the cobblestone streets of Renaissance Florence, the hum of the city, a soft undertone to the symphony of life around you. In this world, beauty is not merely skin deep. It is the shimmering veil that reflects one's virtue or exposes one's sins to the watching world. Here, the perception of beauty carries a weight more immense than one could ever imagine. You are drawn into the lives of Elena and Marietta, two young women whose fates are as entwined as the vines creeping along the ancient city walls. Each step you take alongside them reveals the intricacies of their existence in a society where appearances speak louder than whispers behind closed doors. Elena blessed, or perhaps cursed, with breathtaking beauty walks with the ethereal grace of one born to be adored. Her presence is magnetic envy, trailing her like a shadow. Yet within this allure lies a peril unseen by many. Beauty, you find, is a double-edged sword. It binds Elena in chains of expectation and scrutiny, subjecting her to rumors as delicate and as deadly as a spider's web. Renaissance thinkers like Baldassare Castiglione wrote of how a woman's beauty was a reflection of her moral alignment. However, one can't help but ponder if such musings were mere fancy. Historians still debate whether these writings truly represented societal norms, or if they were the ramblings of an era obsessed with the ideal. Not far from Elena's world glides Marietta, who possesses a plainer countenance. Society might pass her by with the brevity of a fleeting glance, yet this too holds its own form of imprisonment. The dangers here are of invisibility. Without the safety net of striking beauty, Marietta must navigate the world, relying on wit and courage, attributes that Renaissance society, with its rigid hierarchies, often overlooked in women. She dwells unnoticed in the bustling markets, observing and learning the secret language of survival in a world that measures worth in looks. The dichotomy of their lives becomes evident at a grand ball on the Piazza Signoria. Imagine velvet drapes gliding across polished floors and chandeliers, sending cascades of light to illuminate the vibrant gowns and somber suits of the city's elite. Here, Elena's radiance captures all eyes, a living painting in the midst of this grand gallery. Yet beneath the vibrant colors of this spectacle lies the danger of admiration, turning into obsession, praise morphing into scandal. Meanwhile, Marietta, without the armor of beauty to fend off loneliness, blends into the background like a solitary note in a bustling composition. But in this overlooked place, she finds freedom and perspective. Whispered conversations reveal secrets ignored amidst the fanfare. Her plainness becomes her shield, a cloak of invisibility that allows her to move unhindered among the elite. In this world, both women face peril, as beauty is forever entwined with virtue and sin. To be too beautiful invites perilous scrutiny, while to be too plain risks invisibility. You observe how society's perception of virtue often intertwines with appearance, as both women navigate the tightrope of public opinion. From the shadows, you witness an unusual tradition, the strange practice of using crushed beetle shells for rouge, both a testament to beauty's fleeting nature and humanity's tireless pursuit of it. These practices reveal the societal pressures that bind even the boldest. You wonder at this quirky ritual, a blend of the natural and the bizarre, reminiscent of how beauty and vice intertwine through history. The tale continues, and under the warm glow of the city's lamps, Elena and Marietta both embrace their unique paths. For Elena, beauty's burden becomes lighter as she learns to wield it, not as a prison, but as a power, a realization ignited by the fires of understanding shared experiences can bring. Marietta in the shadows finds strength in her quiet, powerful voice, a voice that tells truths the world often chooses not to see. As the tapestry of their lives unfolds, you sense a deeper resonance with these themes. They echo through the ages, just as relevant in these cobblestones and candlelight as they might be in today's bright cityscapes, as echoes of identity perception and society's judgment continue to weave the stories of those brave enough to walk amidst them. And so, under the soft whisper of the night air and the dance of shadows cast by the moon, you drift gently towards the edges of a peaceful rest, allowing the pathways of history fraught with beauty's dangerous allure to guide you towards the embrace of dreams. You release the cadence of your breath in soft waves, each one carrying you closer still to the harmonious sanctuary of sleep. You can almost feel the golden sand drifting around you as the world of ancient Persia unfolds before your eyes. Beneath the expansive canopy of stars, you find yourself standing on vast desert plains, the warm night breeze whispering tales of old. As you step forward into this ancient realm, the sands begin to shift, morphing into the grand courts of a powerful empire that once flourished under King Cyrus the Great. You find yourself in awe of the majesty surrounding you when you suddenly remember these tales can carry you off to adventures that might have made a lesser person tremble. You probably won't survive every challenge faced by the legendary warriors here, but as with any good tale, it's about the journey rather than the destination. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. As your curiosity grows, don't forget to share your location and local time in the comments below. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As twilight deepens across the plains, you hear the sound of marching steady, coordinated and unwavering in its rhythm. You turn and there they are, 1,000 soldiers moving in perfect unison. This formidable vision is the Persian Immortals, an elite military unit that served as the backbone of Cyrus the Great's conquests. Your imagination runs, picturing their gleaming armor and the disciplined faces concealed under the shade of ornate helmets. As if you are privy to their secrets, you learn that this unit was feared throughout ancient lands, not just for their military prowess, but for their mysterious immortality, whispering an awe-inducing legend. In reality, the so-called immortality was a masterstroke of psychological warfare. The Persian Immortals always maintained a number of 10,000 soldiers. The moment one soldier fell in battle, another would seamlessly replace him, creating the illusion of an undying force. This continuity gave the impression that these warriors could not be depleted, demoralizing even the most resolute enemies. Facing them, you'd likely wonder if they truly knew a secret to everlasting life, though historians still debate whether this ceaseless number was literally held or symbolically mythologized over time. Picture yourself among their ranks marching through the sands, a single step, synchronizing your heartbeat with the cadence of thousands. Each soldier, identical in uniform, contributes to this surreal spectacle, a constant shadow behind a great king. These warriors wielded not just swords, but also ancient spears and bows, made with such precision they could pierce the strongest armor. Yet beyond their weapons, their greatest strength lay in their unity. One unusual detail, only whispered about in clandestine circles, was the silent language they spoke among themselves, gestures and signs incomprehensible to any outsider. Imagine how the quiet nights would unfold for these immortals, sitting around makeshift campfires, softly tending to armor and sharing stories in their silent tongue. A comrade may nonchalantly recount the day's events, a subtle wave indicating how the sun glanced off the shields to dazzle the enemies, just like the goat fat trick you heard about earlier. This serene camaraderie built strength that ran deeper than blood. However disciplined their existence, the Immortals existed, not just in the physical realm, but in legends the word immortal itself, hinting at an unbroken legacy. Their legacy wasn't just maintained by the seamless replacement of those who fell, but by their indomitable spirit, a spirit that seemed to rise from deep within the earth of Persia itself, like a never-ending cycle of stories, passed from mouth to ear across centuries. Cyrus the Great, their revered leader and founder of the Achaemenid Empire, understood the importance of this symbolism. He sculpted his empire through turning cultures towards reverence rather than fear, a complex weave of peace and power as intricate as Persian tapestries themselves. Historians still debate whether it was his innovative strategies or the loyalty of his unstoppable guards that solidified his rule. Yet you stand on these sands contemplating both. As you meditate on the everlasting steps of this legendary unit, you find yourself wondering about the unique bond between Cyrus and his immortals. How did he inspire such unwavering devotion? With each step, the winds carry whispers of wisdom, perhaps forgotten by many. A leader's true strength lies not in the size of his army, but in the loyalty his presence engenders. Amidst these musings, dusk turns to night, and the stars light up the sky like a mosaic of diamonds. Their glow casts a soft light over you, and the silent yet resounding march of the Immortals. You drift deeper into the story you inhabit, understanding that these soldiers ever present in the mind of their enemies were perhaps as timeless as the very stars above. Whether you believe in the literal immortality of these warriors, it's certain their legend endures, and perhaps that is immortality enough. As you ponder these thoughts, footsteps echoing in the sands of time, the rise and fall of empires seem but a heartbeat in this eternal desert, a heartbeat you now share in dreaming continuation. The first thing you notice is the shimmer of the sun glancing off the polished metal and glittering fabrics, the kind woven with threads of gold. You find yourself being drawn into the world of the Immortals, a military unit fabled in the annals of history. Their uniforms, as ornate as they are striking, captivate you. Crafted meticulously, each layer is more intricate than the last, designed to dazzle both the allies and intimidate the foes. The very sight of them marching their garments, sparkling in perfect rhythm, is enough to make you ponder, could I ever walk among them without tripping over my own feet? You probably won't survive this both literally and figuratively without a hitch. A cohesive force defined by impeccable discipline, the Immortals didn't just rely on their uniform's grandeur. They were taught ruthlessly about unity and coordination, each heel clicking simultaneously, 1,000 footsteps at once, resonating like a heartbeat against the earth. Somehow you realize the uniform wasn't just clothing for them. It was a tool of psychological warfare, impacting both themselves and their enemies. Facing an enemy dressed like that, would you really want to give them a reason to attack before you nestle in too deep? Remember, give this a like or subscribe, but only if we're making your evenings more intriguing. I'm eager to know where you are right now. What corner of the world are you listening from? And what time is it there? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The Immortals' distinctive uniform is alive with symbolism. The thematically vibrant colors embolden them, while the intricate patterns sewn into every inch tell tales of myths and achievements. Imagine standing amidst 1,000 warriors, each looking like a magnificent piece of living art. Every detail accounted for, from embroidered helms depicting celestial motifs to the flowing robes like silken nightscapes adorned with stars. This is not just about aesthetics, it's about identity. But why such excessive decoration, you wonder? Well, historians still debate whether the embellishments were meant as talismans or merely to project power and wealth. Regardless, the psychological impact is indisputable. Wearing such a uniform, you'd undoubtedly feel invincible, cloaked in legacies of valor and prowess. If clothes could talk, their tales would echo beyond generations. Surprisingly, the headdress worn by the Immortals isn't just ceremonial. Known for its tall, imposing structure, one might guess it was for protection. In truth, many believe it served more like a crown, a constant reminder of their duty and the honor they carried. The practicalities of battle might have reduced this majestic piece to debris, yet the effect on morale unwavering. Imagine the comfort of the simple saddle once worn by a horse, now your anchor in these foreign garments. Just like that saddle once connected a rider to their steed, the uniform connects the warrior to their legion. Intricate intertwining of armor and unity, making one entity from many. It's a bit like when you snuggle under your blankets, every inch wrapped closely around you, granting not just warmth, but the quiet assurance of safety. The undergarments, and yes, even legendary warriors wore. These are a soft irony. Within the shell of metal and toughness lies a layer of comfort. It's said they used fine linen, smooth against the skin, to prevent chafing and sores. Who would have thought that immortal warriors concerned themselves with such mundane, albeit practical discomforts? Boundary lines aren't just drawn in lands, but in styles. Resting upon these sartorial shoulders, is the epitome of disciplined elegance, a paradox, you might say. Consider this: each piece of this uniform spoke of rank and duty without uttering a single word. How's that for efficient storytelling? In an era where communication traveled at the speed of a galloping horse, visual symbolism was paramount. If you could see it, you could understand it. So here you are, adrift in the cadence of footsteps, cloaked by shadows of strength and endless rows of gleaming armor. The uniform, as immersive as the night sky, serves not just to awe the eye, but to fortify the heart. The Immortals stride forward each step, another note in a silent symphony of meticulous orchestration. It's as much about what they wear as how they wear it, bearing the weight of history and perhaps legends yet unborn. Now let the rhythm of this ancient march steady your breathing with every beat, a reminder that moments like these, stories, live on in the folds of time. Feel the silken layers brush against your skin and slip into rest, carried by dreams, forged in gold and woven in history's delicate tapestry. Within the ornate halls of the grand castle, you find yourself standing amidst the bustling court of a bygone era. You can almost feel the sheer weight of history bearing down upon you as banners of ancient lineage swirl gently from high ceilings. A solemn procession passes by each member, an embodiment of a noble house, expertly chosen from birth to carry the weight of their family legacy. Your path is clear. Selected for your noble birth, you're expected to embrace a life of rigorous training in skills that are as demanding as they are celebrated. This journey demands total dedication, molding you into a master of horsemanship, an adept archer, and a paradigm of endurance. The morning sun peeks over the horizon, casting a golden warmth across the training field. Under its gaze, you mount a horse, a creature of both grace and might, just one of the countless that fill the stables. Riding is not merely sitting astride and urging the horse on. It's a dance, one of subtle cues and whispered commands, requiring no small amount of patience and skill. You wonder, did historical records exaggerate when they spoke of these horsemen being one with their mounts? Or is it something you'll truly feel one day? Beneath your hands, the reins are a firm yet familiar grip, the leather worn smooth through generations of use. Horse and rider fly across the expanse a blur to the casual observer. Yet there is no casual in this world. Everything is precise, calculated, and aimed toward perfection. Archery, on the other hand, is the study of focus. Each day, the clatter of wood, the whisper of fletches through the air, becomes a rhythmic accompaniment to your growth. The bow is not merely a weapon, but an extension of your intent. As you practice, you recall stories of legendary archers who could hit targets from impossible distances, evoking tales of Robin Hood and his merry band. However, historians still debate whether such feats were pure embellishment or if they brushed close to the life you've come to know. In serene moments between sessions, you ponder the philosophy behind the skills that have been drilled into you. Lessons are steeped in discipline, and the environment demands unwavering commitment. With a carefully blank expression, your mentor watches each drill, each correction, understanding that while strength and skill are vital, it is the spirit within that defines your mastery. Endurance is tested in all things. Days stretch out like a tapestry before you each thread an opportunity to shine or falter. Some days are harder than others, pushing your limits with the brutal honesty of their demands. Still, you press onward, carrying the knowledge that not every day will bring triumph, but each one offers a chance to learn. Your experience is not altogether different from the stories of journeying knights you've listened to around the campfire, where quests were forged not by deeds alone, but by perseverance against the odds. Across the green fields, you spot fellow trainees. Like you, their faces display determination, each an heir to a tradition as old as the land itself. Together, your shared efforts form a tapestry of ambition and camaraderie similar to the leagues of companions who stood side by side in the annals of history. The sumptuous feasts at day's end, a reward for exertions abroad. The grounds remind you of the bard's songs detailing triumphant returns. Yet not all who ventured onto these fields were meant for glory. Ancestors often remarked that honor's pursuit led only a few to legendary status, while others faded quietly from memory. Perhaps that will be your fate as well, whether a celebrated hero or unsung participant, time will tell. Amidst these reflections, you find humor in small things, like a friendly rivalry with a peer over who can down more honeyed mead without suffering the sting of a hangover. Subtle joys entwined with grueling discipline paint your days in myriad hues. A chill hangs in the air as the evening approaches, signaling the time to gather and share stories. Another day of relentless pursuit, replete with lessons and laughter. As you retire to your dormitory, the quiet echoes of your footsteps offer a calming rhythm, gently lulling your thoughts to rest, preparing your mind and body for the challenges of tomorrow. The comfort of the simple, well-trodden path beneath your feet echoes the depths of your resolve, turning each step of your journey into a testament of will, as nurture blends with nature in the ultimate crucible. As the firelight dims, you are reminded that legends of renown started much the same way. Nobility in birth, perhaps, but greatness in how they faced each of life's trials. And like a lullaby, the stories of those who came before weave around you, embracing your weariness, promising that whether by fate or effort, the tale you live and breathe will find its rightful story in the weave of history, a tale no less important than those of great kings and storied lands. You find yourself in the sprawling gardens of Persepolis, the heart of Darius's empire, where scents of blooming flowers mingle with the heavy footsteps of soldiers. As you wander this ancient world, the tales of Darius and his immortals emerge like smoke from a fire long extinguished. These aren't just any soldiers, but 1,000-strong elite band that could turn the tide of battles with their sheer presence. They feel eternal, like the mountains that cradle the Persian landscape. Darius knew their value. They were his sword and shield. You might hear a gentle breeze whisper stories of how the Immortals never appeared to lessen in number. Cleverly, their ranks were always kept at precisely 10,000, no matter how many might have been lost to the sands of time or battle. The truth was, replacements were silently fitted into place to maintain the illusion, much like trying to keep your jar of cookies always full. This continuity fostered a myth of invincibility, spreading a chill through Darius's enemies, who might think twice before challenging a seemingly undying army. The Immortals were not just swordsmen, they were a statement. Draped in shining armor, meticulously decorated, they were a striking sight on the battlefield. An incredible sight that is, unless you found yourself on the other end of their spears in swordplay. They were the definition of intimidation, harnessed as a formidable extension of Darius's power. Historians still debate whether their reputation alone won more battles than the fighting itself. Your mind drifts as you think about the Immortals, not just as warriors of flesh and iron, but as symbols carefully curated by Darius. They were his political avatars, walking billboards of the empire's might and meticulously orchestrated regimen. He wielded them not only for conquest, but as threads in the tapestry of Persian propaganda. Wherever they marched, stories quickly followed tales of their unstoppable force, weaved into the everyday whispers and conversations among the people and the nobility alike. Scholars today scratch their heads over how much of their power lay in tactics versus theater. Consider this for a moment. You're sitting in a little fishing village minding your own business when you first catch sight of them, the Immortals. Their armor, sunlight dappled, sparkles with an almost divine gleam. You'd probably find yourself in awe first, terror second. That's real power setting your opponent off balance before the first strike. Darius, astute and shrewd, understood that the strength of his empire wasn't merely in troops and chariots, it was also in minds and hearts. Much like placing his face on coins, he found innovative ways to leave his mark. He used the Immortals as a psychological weapon, a living emblem of his rule. Each of their victories a horizon-expanding ad for Persian supremacy. And as the night settles over the emerald gardens of Persepolis, you can almost see Darius himself, standing quietly gazing at the stars, thinking about his endless campaigns, and the Immortals standing ever ready, his hidden kings, his silent ambassadors. These were more than mere soldiers. They were a comprehensive system in Darius's grand design, bridging the gap between warfare diplomacy and perception. And while you drift towards sleep, remember this: sometimes it's the stories we tell, as much as the deeds we do, that define our place in history. You nestle into your cocoon of warmth and let your thoughts float like leaves in a gentle breeze, wondering if Darius ever envisioned that his decisions would ripple through time to shape the world as it is today. Your eyes scan the horizon, taking in the vast encampment of soldiers resting under a blanket of stars. The cool night air whispers against your skin as you rest your head, gazing up at the twinkling constellations for perhaps the last time before dawn disrupts the stillness. Among the weary warriors, some chat in hushed tones, their words a mixture of apprehension and gallows humor. Others simply allow the quiet to lull them into a light, anxious rest. But in the back of your mind, the reality of it all remains tomorrow. You face an impossible trial, and you know deep down you probably won't survive this. You've marched a long way to reach this point in the most ancient tale of courage and calamity, nestled within the narrow passage of Thermopylae. Known as the Hot Gates, due to its natural springs, this stretch of land stands as a key juncture between the towering mountains and the expansive Aegean Sea. Although the shadows cloak everything in tranquility, now the anticipation of an epic clash hangs thick in the air. Beneath this star-spangled night, something grand awaits. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. What corner of the world do you call home, and what time does this tale reach you tonight? Post your location and local time to connect with other brave listeners across the globe. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You join the 300 Spartan warriors led by the resolute King Leonidas, each of you prepared to etch your existence into legend. The Greeks aren't alone, though. There are around 7,000 allies from various city-states, all determined to defend the freedom of their lands. You know that when the sun rises, you will face the seemingly endless forces of King Xerxes, the ruler of Persia, and test whether this alliance can hold back the tide. The morning arrives, bathing the cliffs and crags in a golden glow. The air hums with the rattling of armor and the murmurs of men steeling themselves for battle. The first encounter with the Persians is fierce, but you and your comrades, using the narrow pass to your advantage, hold the line against wave after wave of Xerxes' troops. The clash is relentless, the sounds of swords against shields echoing off the rugged mountainsides. You push forward, feeling a surge of hope despite the odds. It seems almost possible that you could defy fate. The Greco-Persian War is in full swing, and it's no ordinary battle. Historians still debate whether the number of Persian soldiers exceeds 1 million, but whatever the true count, their forces vastly surpass those of the Greeks. The narrow pass at Thermopylae becomes your ally, reducing the Persian advantage. It's almost like a bottleneck where fewer troops can fight at once, nullifying their great numbers. Despite your determined resistance, a fateful twist is about to unravel your efforts. A local Greek named Ephialtes, driven by greed or perhaps desperation, reveals to Xerxes a hidden mountain path around Thermopylae. As you stand firm with your fellow Spartans, Ephialtes' betrayal sets the stage for the Persian forces to encircle you. As the sun begins to set on the second day, you retreat with Leonidas and the remaining Spartans to a small hill. There's a quiet understanding among you all as you prepare for a final stand. Each man acknowledges the solemn reality that by holding your ground, you allow other Greek forces to continue the fight elsewhere. The final day comes, and the Persians close in, surrounding you on all sides. The battle is fierce, your spirit as indomitable as the rocky terrain beneath your feet. You fight not just as warriors, but as symbols of defiance. Your stand at Thermopylae, becoming a rallying cry that will echo through time. In a tragic crescendo, King Leonidas falls, his bravery immortalized. Though you fall in battle, your sacrifice breaks the myth of Persia's invincibility. News of your defiant stand and the incredible bravery of those who fought with you spreads across Greece, inspiring the Hellenic world to muster a unified resistance. It's a tale that will spark hope, showing that a united front, even in the face of overwhelming odds, can challenge fate itself. As you slowly drift from this world, a serene calm replaces your weariness. You realize that while victory wasn't in your grasp, you've compelled the world to witness your spirit. And in many ways, that is a triumph of its own. The calm night returns, bringing with it a gentle breeze, like a lullaby whispered by the earth itself. You settle into eternal rest, knowing that your story will drift gently into history's embrace, carried sweetly by the winds of time. The world quiets, and in its serene patience you become one with the stars above, continuing to shine as a beacon of courage for generations to come. In this soft surrender, close your eyes and let the soothing rhythm of timeless tales cradle you. Imagine the silver threads of night weaving a tapestry, each thread a life, a story, a whisper between worlds. The quiet hum of the universe envelops you, offering the promise of peace and dreams as expansive as the sky. The weight of history eases its burdens and victories gently slipping away as you surrender to this peaceful end. And as you breathe out into the night, your heart slows, finding its own rhythm in the chorus of the cosmos. You are safe here, nestled in the gentle warmth of this shared human tapestry, where stories never truly end, but meander endlessly, like a river returning to the sea. Your tale rests now, as do you in a timeless embrace.